Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, yai, yai, lai, lai. And the second part. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, yai, lai, lai. Try it. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
A wonderful Shabbat gathering. I'm so glad you're all here. We're going to continue as we welcome those angels that we invite into our homes to dwell with us on Shabbat. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Kadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem, Bochem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
I'm looking out into the congregation and seeing a really good turnout from the 2023 B'nai Mitzvah class. Way to go, everyone. It's great. It's great to see everyone here, and just looking more broadly, our congregation, there is such a great cross-section of our community that's here. And that's part of what makes Shabbat so special in our community, is that it's an opportunity for all of us, new people, longtime members, young, old, all sorts of backgrounds, to come together and just to be. And so we are delighted to invite one of those members of our class of 2023 B'nai Mitzvah, Jillian Plotkin, to come up with her mom, Michelle, to light the Shabbat candles. Come in? Okay. You want to bring your friends too? Yeah, okay. Come on up.
Yeah, come on up. Come on up. Okay. You can come up too, so
yeah, sure.
Come on. Come right here.
Okay.
We're just reading this English. You can read in English. Yeah, it's just in English. Don't worry.
Read it together. Oh, all together. Okay. As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so So may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
All right, now come over here. Jillian, I think you're the tallest. They're trick candles. It's not you, it's the candles. There you go, there you go. Live, little candle, live. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik shel Shabbat. This is the real reason we have 3, so we have at least 2. Yay. All right, you can have a seat. So earlier this week, I got to visit some of our community members in the Louis Brier, which we do once a month for our Temple Sholom tea that we host there for the residents. And we were talking about, or seeing really, the power of music to really brighten people's faces. You can see their response when we start singing. And I was thinking about that in terms of Kabbalat Shabbat. I think our ancestors, the people who wrote our prayers, knew that power and felt it as well. And that's what all of these psalms in Kabbalat Shabbat are about. They're about singing together and bringing in Shabbat through music. So we're going to start with Psalm 95. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. L'chunu ranana, page 130. This is your invitation to get into it tonight. Let go. Join together to bring in Shabbat. L'chunu ranana l'Adonai, nariya letzur yishenu. L'chunu ranana l'Adonai, nariya letzur yishenu. Nekadma fanav betodah, mizmirot nariya lo. Nekadma fanav betodah, mizmirot nariya lo. Yalai. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru l'Adonai, Shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol top of 134. Just those top two lines. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Zameru, zamru l'Adonai. Last time. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. So we're going to turn now on page 138 to Lechadodi. Everything up till now is a warm-up to Lechadodi, this peak of the Kabbalat Shabbat service, where we say, "Come, my beloved, to meet the bride." That is Shabbat. And when we get to that last verse, we'll all rise to greet the Sabbath bride and face the entrance. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila. O lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. O lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor hameracha. Merosh mikhem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila. O lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. O lechadodi
Sabbath bride.
Last verse. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'betzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Facing front, all together, one last time. Olecha dodi likrat kala, nei Shabbat lekavela. Olecha dodi likrat kala, nei Shabbat lekavela.
Stay standing as we turn forward now to page 263 as we prepare to transition into our evening Mariv service with Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכונו ויומכונו וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם מהמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא לאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. Join with me in this prayer for evening on page 265. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim. בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו.
אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה באהבתך. אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם emet.
We sing together the song of freedom and redemption on page 270, Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
So this week, the Shabbat, we begin a new book of Torah. We're starting the book of Shmot, of Exodus, and really some of the most well-known narratives of the whole Torah that we, of course, read in our Pesach Seder's every year. We're reminded of this beginnings and endings of slavery, of the time in our history when we were enslaved and had really what is one of among many, many terrible, problematic things about being a slave is that there is no rest. There is no real concept of time in the same way that we've come to understand a week, and within our Jewish framework of Shabbat, of being this break between the week, that not every single day has to be the same, that we don't have to grind every single day, but that we, as part of our sense of humanity, but also this dignity that we receive from God, know that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause, and that is part of what makes us free, is our opportunity to do just that. And so as we gather on Shabbat and every week to acknowledge not just the gift of Shabbat, of being able to relax and have challah and be with friends, but also to celebrate our freedom through this observance of Shabbat, it is truly a gift. So let's join together in Vishamru on page 272.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Yum ba da da da, Shabbat Shabbat, yum ba da da da, Shabbat Shabbat, yum ba da da da, Shabbat 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 Shalom. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ים בדיידיידיי, שבת שבת, ים בדיידיידיי, שבת שבת, ים בדיידיידיי, שבת שבת, שבת שבת שלום.
So we'll rise together as we prepare for the Amidah, first with chanting on page 273 these words to prepare us to offer our prayers. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש בשמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום ילדוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated. As we turn to page 279, we'll join together in Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu, be'amecha Yisrael, u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel, u'tehile ratzon, tamid avodat Yisrael. אל הקרוב לכל קורב, פני אל עבדיך וחוננו, שפוך רוחך עלינו, ותחזינה עינינו, בשובך לציון, ברחמים. ברוך אתה, אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון, לציון.
So we pause to offer words of praise and gratitude for all of the blessings of each day. We join together on page 280, 4 lines from the bottom. We are in awe and recognition of all of the little wonders that we experience each and every day.
ועל ניסך שבכל יום, last line, ערב ובוקר וצהריים, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך, הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדך, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך.
Our prayer for peace is on page 282, Shalom Rav.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Take a few moments as individuals with our own silent prayer.
285, words of Yehiyu Leratzon. Yehiyu Leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi. Yehiyu Leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi lefanecha. One more time. Yehiyu Leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi. Yehiyu Leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi lefanecha. Repeat after me. Adonai, Adonai tzuri vegoali. Adonai tzuri vegoali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock and my redeemer. That's the English part. We haven't done it before,
No,
so
we caught on.
good job.
Such a beautiful melody. That's great. So as we turn now to our Mishaberach, a prayer of healing, I invite you to look for it on page 371, the middle of that page. We think particularly of those in our temple community and beyond who we know are struggling with health at this time, and we pray that they might find wholeness and healing. In particular, we think of Eric Schneider, Michael Green, Ruth Fraxon, Tzemach ben Menashe Halevi Varikla, Meir Tzvi, Rebecca Daum, Chana Batsar V'Shmuel, Meir Zalman ben Rachel, Daniel Gottesman, Bill Shaw, Sarah Chiachi, Lawrence Daum, Claire Columbia, David Hansen, Jack Karp, Dan Badash, Victor Lewin, Matt Good, Alicia Eckersley, Tsipa Bat-Ita, Leto and Jay, Asher Gavriel Ben Mordechai, Yoshua Vasara Elishev, David Coulter, Apollonia Wilczynski, Elena Cobb, Carla Zivit, Janet Gelb, Jean Angus, Judy Steiner Lossberg, David Shlomo Gorney, and Andrea Jarzbiak. If there are other people you're holding in your hearts, you'd like to share their name out loud, if you would stand and mention them at this time. Let's join together in Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source find the courage to make our lives a blessing, then let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom again, everyone.
I do have one announcement to have.
You have an announcement? Okay, good. My daughter, she came in to ask me a question on the side. She said, Mom, why are there so many people here? I said, because it's Shabbat. But it's really great. It's a really wonderful crowd that's here. And we're so happy everyone is with us tonight. And we hope that we'll see you next Friday, if not before. But before that, we have a number of announcements to share of some upcoming activities and events here at the shul. So first of all, our Shalom Shishim, our seniors group, that's been just really doing wonderful programs and lunches, has a great outing happening on the 17th. So this is on, what day of the week is
coming
that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. It is at the Vancouver Academy of Music. It's music in the morning. There's going to be a wonderful concert and some refreshments. It should be fantastic. So you do need to register in advance for that. So call the office or you can sign up on the website. Our sisterhood is having their first ladies' night out on the 26th of January here at the shul. It's going to be a dumpling making class, which sounds really great. So you can register on the website as well for that. We have, importantly for everyone in the community, a town hall for our congregation on February 12th. So about a month from now, save the date. It's going to be a community consultation and a presentation about our current and predicted needs of Temple Sholom, of our building, of our cemetery, really looking forward. And we hope that you'll come to kind of see what the vision of our leadership is and thinking for the future. So please do come for that. A couple other things. Our men's club is hosting a movie night on February 19th. It's going to be a documentary called Picture of His Life with actually a special guest, Liron Gertzman, and his grandparents are here tonight, and Robert Albanese, who's done wonderful work with our local Vancouver Jewish Film Festival. So that should be great. The last thing I'll just mention is we are, as I think most of you know, this year in the spring, Israel is celebrating its 75th birthday, which is very exciting. And we're going to be doing a number of different things to mark the occasion, but one of which is this year we're having a congregational book read that's called, it's a book by Daniel Sokach. It's called Can We Talk About Israel? A Guide for the Curious, Confused, and Conflicted. I'm actually about 2/3 of the way through it right now. It's really very good history of Israel and talking about really kind of presenting a lot of the current issues, including helping understand like why is Israel as it is right now with all the complications that are there. So if you are engaged with Israel, it's a wonderful conversation to have. If you wish you knew more about modern Israel, it's actually a great opportunity to do a book read and talk about it. We're going to be having first 2 options for congregational book discussions. One will be on a Sunday morning during religious school hours, and another one will be on Zoom. And then later in March, the author will actually be joining with us by Zoom to do a conversation and Q&A. So that should be great. So you can order the books either through the shul. We have a number of them you can pick up here, or wherever you get your books. Amazon. Okay. You have
one
another
more.
announcement, Cantor?
So it didn't make it on the sheet, but for those who are interested, this Wednesday evening we're going to be launching a queer Torah study group, and we'll have our first meeting at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday at a cafe on Main Street. Ask me for more details if you're interested, but it'll be a place for us to gather and whoever's interested to study Torah from a queer lens, so a little bit different than some of the other Torah study groups that we have. So we're excited about that.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I was talking to a friend of mine. I was in the car and talking on the phone, hands-free, of course, it was good. And we all have kids around the same age, and she was telling me about challenges with a teenage daughter, which I could relate a little. Okay, I could relate a little bit. And she was talking about how all the time there's all this conflict, and it seems like there's always tension and big emotions and big hormones and big things, and sometimes just, it seems like out of control. And as I was talking to her and commiserating and talking, I couldn't believe what was right in front of me in traffic. There was a car with a bumper sticker that I'd seen before, but it was so perfect for the moment. I said to my friend, "You're not going to believe what's in front of me." I said, "The car in front of me has a bumper sticker that says, 'Well-behaved women seldom make history.'" I said, "She's going to be a superstar. Don't worry, it'll be great." And I think, there's probably a lot of truth to that bumper sticker. But maybe the place where we could put that bumper sticker, if we opened up a Chumash, the Torah, we could put it in this week's Parsha. Because we have the most fantastic group of women in this week's Torah portion that I would say make our history. And they make our history because they didn't follow the rules. Or at least the rules that were prescribed for them. So let me introduce you to the women of this week's Torah portion. I'm going to actually tell first about all of them and then talk about two of them more specifically. So, usually in this week's parasha, as I mentioned at the beginning of the service, it's the beginning of Exodus. We're introduced to Moses. Moses is pretty great. He is, one of the great heroes, the great prophet of our tradition. But we meet some other women first, even before Moses is on the scene. So, first woman we're going to meet is Yocheved, who is the mother of Moses, as well as the mother of Aaron and Miriam. And it was her, Yocheved, who at the height of the Egyptian persecution, who when the Pharaoh enacted this rule of not allowing Jews to have children, or at least to have male babies, she had the courage to have a child and to hide him for 3 months and then devise a plan to rescue him. She went against what had been decreed upon her, really upon her body. So Yocheved was number one. Number two is Miriam, of course, her daughter, Moses' sister. It was Miriam who kept watch over her baby brother as the ark floated down the river. And it was Miriam who approached Pharaoh's daughter. That took a lot of chutzpah, with the suggestion that the baby should be nursed by his mother among his own people. So Miriam, in this week's parasha, just as a child, shows great strength and determination. The third woman we meet that has really this incredible strength is Pharaoh's daughter, who, when approached, actually opened her home and her heart to this baby. She had the courage to rescue an Israelite child, to bring him up in her very own palace, where her father was plotting the destruction of the Israelites. And the rabbis actually give her a name. It's not in the Torah, but later in rabbinic tradition, her name is Batya. Batya means the daughter of God, because of her righteous behavior. So the fourth woman that we meet in this week's parasha, a little later in the Torah portion, is Tzipporah, Moses' wife. She is the daughter of a Midianite priest of Jethro and was determined to accompany Moses on his mission to Egypt, to go back, to go and to lead the people to freedom, despite the fact that she had no connection there. She cast her lot with Moses. So those were four women that we met. And the last two that I want to focus on tonight are Shiphrah and Puah. They are the midwives who frustrated Pharaoh's attempt at genocide, that when they, along with all the other midwives, were told to kill the male babies at birth, they, the Torah says, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Now it's interesting, first of all, to point out, often in Torah, women don't get named. They are wife of so-and-so or daughter of so-and-so. But here we have 6 women, 5 of whom are named actually in the Torah, and the 6th by the rabbis, which is something really interesting to think about by itself. But I think it's these 2 midwives that show the most courage, and from whom we can really gain an incredible sense of both pride and inspiration of how we live our lives today. It's interesting that these midwives, they committed disobedience. They were told to kill these babies, and they create actually a really incredible story or a workaround to make sure that they don't do that. They tell the Pharaoh that the Hebrew women are vigorous and give birth before we even arrive. And that is how they saved lives and also themselves escaped punishment. It's interesting that this concept of disobedience, sometimes we say civil disobedience, we know of, is often something that we think about as a point of real pride. We think about those who stood up against injustice throughout all times of history. But really, its origin is here in the action of these 2 women of Shiphrah and Puah. Through their understated courage, they earn a high place among the moral heroes of history, teaching us the importance of conscience over conformity, the law of justice over the law of the land. So what was it that emboldened these 2 to do what they did? As they were maybe working side by side, did they see something in each other? Did they know or recognize? Well, our tradition says that they feared God, that they were God-fearing women. And others might say that they saw in their own work, their occupation, that they couldn't possibly bring death, that their whole purpose was to bring life into the world. They would say simply, we do what we do. We are midwives. We birth life, we don't end it. It's hard to predict what any of us would do when called upon in the heat of the moment. Sometimes I think to myself, what would I do? What would I have done had I lived in such and such a time in history? And the truth is, I don't know. But I like to think that both my conscience, my Jewish values, and the examples of women and men, these people in Torah who acted out of their sense of moral integrity, have taught me something as well. But I'd like to leave us with 2 important lessons from these midwives. First of all, there's no such thing as being too small to act. Yes, it feels sometimes like we live in a very large and impersonal world where there are things beyond our reach, that our voices are small in comparison to everything out there. But Pharaoh was big. Pharaoh's machinery, bureaucracy, power was just as powerful as those things that make us feel small today. And the midwives were as lowly as anyone in Egypt. But they acted, and their actions transformed history. And the second thing about the midwives is that they feared God. And I don't mean to put that in a scary fire and brimstone sort of way, but to think about how our actions are to be motivated not by political contention, not by anger, not by hatred, but by what we are called to do in the moral world by our tradition and by God. They were motivated by the firm sense that there is a moral order and that they were called to act and defend it. So too for us. What is just and right and good is, I think, deeply implanted in each of us. These 6 women from Parashat Shemot were leaders of courage and conscience. They refused to be intimidated by power or defeated by circumstance. They were some of our most important heroes of the Exodus and of the whole Torah, and their courage still inspires us today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shikah.
So we'll turn back in our siddurim now to page 586. I'll invite everyone to please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. Middle of page 590. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולם ימלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, והיום ההוא יהיה מלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. So as has now become really a precious tradition in our congregation, at the end of a period of shloshim, of 30 days of mourning, we invite mourners to come, if they wish, to share a few words about their loved one. And so it's an honor to invite David Albert to join us on the bima to share a few words about his mother, Annette Rosalie Albert, of blessed memory.
Catherine Schultz, the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and author of the recent best-selling book Lost and Found, and my grief guru, says that grief is a personal experience, but mourning is communal. And this is obviously a very Jewish concept. I'm grateful for having the opportunity this Shabbat to share some thoughts about my mother, who passed away on December the 10th. My wife, Jennifer, suggested that I simply reread the part of the eulogy I gave with my sisters at my mom's funeral. However, upon reflection, I wanted to share some of the thoughts or themes that developed for me during the last 30 days or during the Shiva and Shloshim time frame. While sitting in Shiva in Ottawa at the house my mother lived in for the past 50 years and peacefully died in, I was taken by the volume of people who came to express their condolences and help my family grieve. There was a vast quantity of delicious food that was cooked, baked, or bought for all of us. Oscar Wilde's protagonist in The Importance of Being Earnest says, "When I'm in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me." The food helped as it was comforting and a distraction. It didn't help my expanding waistline. However, it wasn't the food, but the people that provided me with the healing for my grief. My mother was involved and engaged in an array of communities. She had a group of friends she swam with multiple mornings a week. She had her friends she walked with. She had her bridge friends, her book group friends, her friends from her former work as a teacher and a principal. She had her friends from Florida. She had her close friends from the neighborhood. She had her friends who had moved to Vancouver. She had her Winnipeg friends. She had her synagogue friends, her Hadassah friends, and the list goes on and on. All of these people from all these different parts of her life came to pay their respects for my mother and to help me and my family grieve by showing how much of an impact my mother had on so many lives. The next thing I observed during the last 30 days is how much support existed for me and my immediate family from the communities I have engaged with. My colleagues and friends in my workplace have all been flexible, accommodating in their support and allowances during this difficult time. My swim club friends, tennis friends, my book club friends have all reached out to me. My old friends, old in quotes, have been beyond incredible. They provided support when I was in Ottawa, and they continue to check in on me and be there for me when I need to talk, probably incessantly, about my mother and how much I miss her. My good friend Darcy surprised me by flying to Ottawa from Vancouver for the funeral. He was in Ottawa for less than 24 hours. I recall him doing the same thing 27 years ago when our friendship was much younger, when my dad died suddenly. The support of my Jewish community has also been overwhelming. My friends who I work with and volunteer with at Jewish Federation, the White Rock South Surrey Jewish Community Center, and my new Temple Sholom family. I joined the Temple Sholom a couple of years ago as I felt the need for spiritual guidance and community. Everybody here has been so helpful, but a special shout out to Rabbi Dan, who maybe is live streaming tonight. I want to thank him for taking the time to talk to me while my mother was ailing and her health was deteriorating, and during the time of mourning. This, of course, ties back into my mother's life. She was involved in synagogue her entire life. She attended services multiple times a week. Over the last year, when she could no longer physically attend shul, she attended by Zoom. The rabbi who officiated at her funeral commented that the only reason they didn't stop Zoom services at the synagogue over the last year was to accommodate my mother, who could no longer attend services in person, and who almost always was the only virtual attendee. Finally is the theme of family. My mom's dying wish, which my sister Sharon recorded, was that me and my 3 sisters and all of her grandchildren remain close. She acknowledged in this recording that she was the glue that kept us together. My mom was a connector. She maintained relationships with cousins and extended families and friends and thrived on all of these connections. I hope that I can live up to her wish. If I do, it will be so obviously by way of her example and teachings. As I visit with existing friends, make new friends, participate and volunteer in my different communities, and provide love and support to my immediate and extended family, I will be thinking of my mother and thanking her for all she has done in making me the person I am today. I will leave you with another quote from Catherine Schultz, my grief guru. She says, "Grief confuses us by spinning us around to face backwards, because memories are all we have left. But of course, it isn't the past we mourn when someone dies, it's the future."
Thank you so much, David, for your words. May her memory always be a blessing. As we remember Annette, we bring into our hearts the names of those whom we mourn this Shabbat as well. And I invite you, if you are here to say Kaddish as I read the name of your loved one, to please stand as you honor their memory. We are in Shloshim for Annette Rosalie Albert, Edward Dodek, Beverly Golden, Alvin Samuels, and Rosalind Shirker. And we mark yahrzeit this week of Dora Bakalinsky, Henriette Becker, Joan Becko, Isaac Blecker, Captain Michael Boscovich, Rose Brandstander, Donna Jean Brown, Rose Butts, Sonia Carlson Bernstein, Max Chimes, Sidney Cole, Sharon Ruth Cooper, Jack Davis, Michael Epstein, Miriam Fish, Robert Garcia, Moishe Chaim Garfinkel, Elizabeth Gilbert, Jenny Golden, Arnold Columbia, Sarah Gorfin, Gilbert Goslin, Yoshua Goslin, Boris Gozer, Eve Gozer, Risa Green, Edwina Heller, Dolly Hollenberg, Igor Ilyasov, Kalo Kaya, Cindy Kaplan, Philip Cates, Teresa Kaufman, Lily Kirsch, Jacob Gray Kleiner, Morris Kleiman, Samuel Corbin, Bertha Korngold, Anna Kavinsky-Rabinovich, Annalie Landsberg, Jean Letterman, Sam Lewis, Bobby Meisel, Chaim Miller, Minnie Needleman, Fanny Pascal, Misha Pollock, Dr. Myron Prinzmetal, Abraham Zalman Raber, Samuel Richmond, Deborah Richter, David Rosenzweig, Walter Schneider, Joe Silverman, Robert Tabachman, Ron Verbian, Eva Weinstock, Rod Yamanucci, Eliezer Zigden, Paul Zolman Sr. There are other names of people who you are remembering, those who have come to say Kaddish, if you'd share their names at this time. We stand now as one congregation beside those who mourn. I invite those who choose to join in these words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
Amen.
amen. Amen. Yeh zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing, as we say together. Amen. Amen. So let's see. Why don't we remain standing? We're going to get ready for our Oneg Shabbat. Thank you very much to David for sponsoring the Oneg in memory of your mother. An opportunity to greet one another, have a little nosh. I want to say a special welcome to Bruno and I forgot your wife's name. Mariana, who are visiting for the first time, just moved recently to Vancouver from Brazil. And I'm saying that out loud because Luciana is sitting behind you, also from Brazil. So a little shidduch over there. Fantastic. So let's join with Cantor Cohen in Kiddush.
Vayerev vayvoker yom hashishi, vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tevam, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vayikadesh oto, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. צברי.
לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
אמן. לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen. L'chaim. Amen. So we'll join with Cantor Cohen in our closing song, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Librama, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Teimru, Amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Oseh Shalom Librama, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Teimru, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.